Hi, and welcome to the 7 Basics of Canvas here at CMC. And today we're going to be talking about a couple different areas, and one of those is rubrics, which can be found in the assignments area. Now, a rubric is something that you use to kind of set some standards on how you're going to grade. In this case, I'm going to go to an assignment that I already have. In this case, it's the Week 1 introduction, and I'm going to use a rubric to help grade my students' work. Now, in this case, it's a pretty simple assessment or project or assignment they're working on. But let's say I had some teachers' assistants working with me or another faculty, and we wanted to have a consistent way that we were going to grade the students' work. So in this case, you can set a description of what criteria you want the students to have and to decide on how many ratings you want to have as far as whether they did it or not, or if they met most of the requirements or some of the requirements. So in this case, I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit my first criteria. Covered the main topics. And I don't have to put a long description in, but it's available there if you want it. And this one's kind of all or nothing. So I'm going to add an additional rating, and I'm going to give it a 3-point, and I'm just going to leave it with most met. And in this way, it gives me kind of an option to go through and decide how many of the points I want to give my students for this assignment. If I want to add additional ones, I just click Criteria, a new one, and I want to call this one Writing Style. And I can do the same thing. I can give them 3. I can also split it more if I want to give a 4. And I could give it a 5. Or a 5th one, which would be a 2 in this case. So I've got multiple ways, and I can even do the full scale and give them a 1. So this is a way to help me go through and identify how well the students did. I can put a lot more detail in the rubric as far as what they need to complete and what they've met, what they haven't. It helps the students to identify what they need to do to get a good grade in this assignment, what they should be looking for, and then an easy way for me to go through and grade. I've got a couple other options. Free-form comments, if I want to give them that. I'm going to use this for the grading assignments. So it'll pop up in the grade book, and I can choose whether to show or hide the title scores or the total scores for the assessment. So I'm going to go ahead and just create this rubric, and you'll see it now that it pops up down here as far as kind of my ratings when the student comes in and takes their assessment. So the next thing we're going to look at are discussions. And discussions are a great way to get students engaged in an online environment, to keep them active, to have them bouncing ideas back and forth, have some critical thinking, allow students to work as groups. There's a lot of options with discussions, whether you're using it for your on-campus course, a hybrid, or an online. I'm going to show you the basics for creating a discussion. And it's very simple. We click the Add Discussion that we've had before. We have a very similar format that we've been working. In this case, I'm going to add this for my Week 6 course, and I'm going to have them discuss about the project. And this can be as detailed as you want, but usually I try and pick about 1 to 3 main topics that I want students to discuss within a discussion. If you get more than that, then it gets a little overwhelming or too much. You want to give the chance for students to think about and really hone in on the key components or objectives of that week's work or that assignment that you have to be working with. Now I can attach files just like I've done in other places. I can make links to different sections of the course. I can have files that I can attach directly into the comments. I can add images, all those kinds of things. So it's very similar to what we've done for a lot of these things. Allow thread replies is something I generally turn on. This allows students to reply and interact with each other and create a lot of good dialogue and interaction. So that's kind of a standard one I turn on. The others, the must post before seeing replies. If students aren't posting or they're looking around to see what others have written and then taking what they've written and making their own, this is one way to kind of nip that and force them to be more creative and original on their own. So that's an option you can choose. Generally, I'm not going to have a podcast with these, so I don't turn that on. Grading may be something I want to have if they're going to get points for participation in the class. I'll turn it on. You notice the points popped up down here below. And then you can allow liking. So if you've got some social media users and they want to like whether they've read a post or not, you can turn that on. It's up to you as far as a teacher. You can also have kind of special groups for discussions. So if you got teams working on projects, this might be something you want to explore. But as a general for a whole class, I'll just leave it unchecked. In this case, I'm going to give them 5 points for participation in the discussion. You can choose other options besides points. You can do percentage and letter grades and different things like that. Incomplete, complete, whatever you happen to choose. I generally leave the assignment group there. I don't worry about that. I don't require peer reviews. For a personal choice, I just let them kind of naturally interact. And it's something you can force students to get into if you need to, but most times you don't. Due dates, same options. We can choose when it's going to be turned in. If we want it to be next week, we can just click on it and have that added. We can start and stop dates. But most times students, once they get into the rhythm of it and they're posting every week or they're posting twice a week, they kind of take care of themselves. We have the same options for save and publish. In this case, I want to make it available, so I'm going to publish it. And that kind of gets it out there and ready for students to view. Some tips that I have when you're doing discussions, make them a regular occurrence in your course. Something they're always going to have every week. Expect students to post at least 2 to 3 times in a discussion a week, and that can be replies or originals. I really kind of recommend them to reply to at least 4 or 5 other students' comments within there to get that interaction, make it part of the grade or the requirements. Something you might either put in the directions for the discussion or you might put in your syllabus. And then once again, once you've got your discussion put up there, you can go down to your modules. In this case, I've got week six, and I'm going to add this discussion. So I'll come down here to my discussions, find that week 6 post, add that item, and now it's organized, it's in here. I may need to come in and change my title a little bit because I have another assignment that says week 6. So make sure it's clear they know what they are as far as discussions. But if you look, there is a little icon over here on the left that does show that it's a discussion topic, but sometimes that's not real obvious. So now you've had a chance to play with rubrics a little bit. You've seen how to make a discussion. These are great ways to get some interaction. If you want to see what it looks like, add a fake student or get another person in there and go into your discussion, and you can see how they can come in and they can reply and get some good interaction in your course. So go to your own sandbox, your own course, and try out discussions and rubrics. Have a good one.
I know it does that.